gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's the 1st of August, 2023. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined this morning by our managing editor for now, Matt Shodell, and Stephen Wagner, as we discuss the news of the day. And Matt, you're only staying managing editor if you make it to the end of the show today. No bolting early like you did yesterday. I don't care how annoyed you get at Stephen and I calling you out for your numerous crosswalks or whatever you pronounce that word. But anyway, so much to talk about this morning. Obviously, it's the first day of fall camp, a huge moment for the Miami Hurricanes. But yesterday, we got to spend a lot of time with the team. It was media day, and we basically got to go crazy for about an hour and a half doing interviews with players and coaches, and we were bouncing from player to player, coach to coach. You're going to see all this coverage. You're already seeing a lot of it on the website yesterday and into this morning. You're going to be seeing a lot more in the coming days. We've got a ton of it we're working on, a lot that's stockpiled. Matt, the thing that really jumped out at me was I noticed, and you'll probably attack me and tell me I'm an optimist and all this nonsense that you usually spew on the show, but I felt I saw a culture change in the Miami football program. I was very impressed with the way the kids handled themselves. I was very impressed with what they had to say, their message, and just overall how they feel about each other and this team. There is a lot of excitement in Coral Gables as they go out onto the practice field this morning.
Yes, there is.
Stephen, he never stops, does he? Just never stops.
I mean, listen, I have never had to rage quit anything in my whole life. I didn't even know what rage quitting was until my son told me, when he was 8 years old, like that some kid rage quit when he was playing him in like Madden or something, over the internet. Like I rage quit. I was channeling, I guess, the Miami Hurricanes the last 19 years. They would rage quit in games, and I just channeled that. But that would actually be giving a bad name to my rage quitting, because I felt like my rage quitting was actually deserved. I felt like I should not have been treated as poorly as I was by a couple of other people on the show. But anyway, that notwithstanding, look,
you are hardly a victim. Trust me.
I was a victim. I'm a victim. So listen, yesterday's media day, I love to look for the negatives, right? But there really weren't any. Like, if there's any negative that I could even find, it's that these guys were too nice. The team's too nice.
Negative at media day.
Nice players never do well. These guys were really, they were great. I mean, I took pictures of all the guys after I did the interviews. I said to Wesley Bissainth, I said, okay, thanks for your time or whatever. I know Wesley from recruiting, obviously, and I said, I'm going to take a picture of you. I said I lied. I said, you're the only one I'm taking a picture of because all the rest of your teammates are too ugly. And he was nice enough to laugh. So that's a true story. I probably shouldn't talk like that to the players, but I say inappropriate things on this show. I say them to the players. Like, I don't care, man. I'm too old. I could care.
I got to go to apologize to Mario for your behavior at media day.
My behavior is terrible. So I did. Look, we had great interviews. I've complained for many years now that the team's not forthcoming with information. This team this year, these new coaches and these players, they have not been trained adequately to withhold information. I was talking to you yesterday afterwards. I said, there's stuff we can't run. Like, they were telling me things about the scheme, like the running backs and how they're going to be catching the ball and where they're going to be catching the ball. And the quarterback, one of the quarterbacks was telling me, like, what the second reads are going to be on certain plays. Like, stuff that, why would you tell me that? Like, don't tell anybody that. They've not been trained adequately. But you know what? That's what the best Miami teams were. Like, they didn't care. You could know our plays. We're just better than you. Who cares? So I sort of I don't know if it was bravado or stupidity. I'm afraid it probably was the latter and not the former. But, it's okay because
it was great.
Yeah, because we were saying. Yeah, and it's nice to have a bridge between players to us to you guys. And, we're trying to pump out all the information we can as quick as we can. And we have to sort of, I mean, we did, I don't know, 20 or 30 interviews. So, I mean, we have to get them out at some point. But, Stephen Wagner only types one word a minute. So it's very difficult to have him involved. And, it is what it is. But, we had a great Jakari Brown feature yesterday. I talked to guys. We're going to have features upcoming with guys like Tyler Harrell, who wants to race Christopher Johnson, but after the season because they're going to get hurt, and he's all up in arms because Christopher ran a faster 100 time in high school than he did, and Tyler ran a 4.24 at the Louisville Pro Day, and he says that was a laser time. His hand time was 4.19, and he feels he's faster than that now. But he hasn't run the 40 because he didn't get to in time, and he had that foot injury. But he says he feels he's faster now. He says when he comes to Miami's Pro Day, he's going to run a 4.1. I didn't ask him if it was 4.1 flat because honestly, what's the difference? It's ridiculous speed. But those are probably the two fastest guys on offense. Then, you have guys like Jakari talking about his problems. I mean, Jakari flat out, it was nice to talk to him one-on-one because sometimes in these groups you get just these stupid quotes. But I got about, you and I both, Gary, we're out there. I know Stephen was doing recruiting stuff, but you and I both out there, and we made a point to just get one-on-ones because we know most of these kids personally, most of these adults personally, and they tend to tell you things. So Jakari was literally telling me that he pats the ball. He told me, he said Cam Kinchins pointed out to him, when you pat the ball before you throw it, you're giving me an extra second to get to the spot and intercept your pass. So he's fixing that. He has a wind-up problem before he throws the ball that he's fixing. He's got footwork where he's got to calm his feet down. He's got a lot to work on, but he's making progress. And he flat out told me the issues he's having. It's in the story from late in the day yesterday when I finally got around to typing my 2 words a minute because I'm twice as good as Stephen Wagner. And so, I mean, that's just a couple of small examples. I can go on and on. Every interview I did yesterday, I did 17 of them myself. Every interview I did yesterday, I think it's a great story. And last year, I did 50 interviews in the fall, and maybe I thought 2 of them were great. So I'm really happy. I think that it really, hopefully it's a sign that sort of the team's not so worried about the media anymore. It used to be, the media was the problem and da-da-da-da-da. No, we're not the problem. Tell us whatever. Tell us your personal issues. We're human beings too, And I'm hoping it's a change because this was definitely a change. It was a change in the way the team perceives us. Maybe it's the way the team's going to play on the field. Maybe it's the way the team seemed more relaxed. The team didn't seem worried. In the past, the team was scared to say something wrong and they'd be punished. This team was not scared at all about saying anything. And I think, honestly, some of them were saying how, Shannon Dawson doesn't yell at them. They didn't say that Josh Gaddis did, but you and I both know Josh Gaddis constantly was screaming at these guys. They just seem happier. It's a happier team. It's a team that's, I wouldn't say they're excited. I'd say they're cautiously optimistic, which they should be.
I think they're excited.
No, they're not excited.
They're excited.
I know excited. This is my excited face. So I know what excited looks like. They're not excited. There's Emory Williams flat out told me, and I wish I had the quote. I have the quote somewhere. He said something like, I've been told that fall practice is a total nightmare. I'm just hoping to survive. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he told me that the other guys on the team told him, So to say they're excited about today, I'm not going to lie, Gary. They're not excited to start fall practice. Are they excited to be?
They're not going to even touch him the whole fall. What's he worried about?
He doesn't know that, apparently. Are they excited to be Miami Hurricanes? Are they excited about this team and this program on an upward trajectory? Yes. Are they excited that they're going to be starting fall practice and working their asses off like we did yesterday, for, 15 straight hours? I mean, probably not. I enjoyed the work I did yesterday, but I wasn't excited about it. So I'd say that sums it up.
All right. I'm going to put everybody out of their misery for a minute and get rid of you because I got a few things I got to say. First, I'm going to tell everybody that if you like the show, like our YouTube channel, hit your subscribe button, hit your like button. It helps us with the algorithms at YouTube, grow our audience. And also, I want everybody to know who is not yet a subscriber to CaneSport.com that we have a fall camp special for the next few days. You can get 25% off of an annual subscription. It's already a great deal at $8 a month, but we'll give you 25% off if you come in the next 3 days. $74.99 for a full year. If that doesn't work, which I hope it does, because we want to bring the whole Canes Nation together for this season. This is going to be an exciting year for the Miami Hurricanes. You'll hear us talking more and more about it on the show and on our website. We'd like to have everybody together in our community, living it, talking about it, and allowing us to continue to do what we do to enhance your fan experience. So get on over to CaneSport.com if you're not yet a subscriber, and join our community today. All right, now that I got that in, I'll let Matt come back, or we'll shoot him over to the right. But Matt mentioned all the interviews we did, and Stephen, we will get to you in a moment, we promise. But because we do have some very important recruiting news to talk about. I think Matt mentioned he did 17 one-on-one interviews yesterday. I think I did 15, and you're going to see these coming on the website every day. We've got video. We've got a lot of really good stuff, and there wasn't really one of the 15 or so that I did. Maybe it was 16 that I left and felt, oh man, that was no good. We don't need to use that. These were really, really good interviews. I was really impressed with the kids. One of my favorites, Matt, and it's not on the website yet. We'll have it up on the website in the coming days. But I was talking to Leonard Taylor, and Leonard Taylor is one of the keys to this football team. I mean, there is no doubt about it. But he's just such a mellow guy. Like, you would think like a terrorizing defensive tackle would be like a werewolf ready to kill somebody. Leonard Taylor is the tamest, nicest kid in the world. And I said to him, I said, Leonard, look, we've seen flashes from you where you have been spectacular, where like everyone's sitting there saying, wow, Leonard Taylor can be a great player. Is this year going to be the year that we start seeing it every down? Because Lance Guidry is telling us he's not pulling these guys off the field the way Kevin Steele did last year. He's telling us they're going to be on the field, more of the starters, which means Leonard Taylor's going to play more than 23 plays a game, which is what we saw at times last year, right, Matt? Matt and I'd be sitting in the press box saying, like, what are we watching? The best players on this team are not on the field 2/3 of the time, and they're going 5 and 7. I mean, it was unfathomable. Well, Lance Guidry says he's playing his starters more. So I'm thinking, Leonard, man, they need you to show up more than once every 6-7 plays. Like, you're going to be out there a lot this year. And I asked him about it. And you know what he said? He admitted to me that he took plays off. I was like stunned. And I applaud him for his honesty, because he's aware of what's holding him back. Leonard Taylor cannot take plays off. Okay. They need Leonard Taylor to be on the full bore every single play. And he talked about how his conditioning was lacking, that he would get tired on the field, and that was affecting his play. This year, he's hoping he's in better condition. We'll find out which fall camp starts. But these were the kind of nuggets that we were able to pull out of Media Day. So to sum Media Day up, I think you guys are really going to enjoy seeing all this coverage. We'll be rolling it out constantly over the next few days. And it's really going to help you guys get to know your 2023 Miami Hurricanes football team. But now they transition this morning and they begin fall practice, Matt. And you get the sense that, Mario Cristobal is always intense, but I get the sense that he understands that they have significantly improved the personnel on this football team. And I think he's going into this fall camp with much higher expectations than he had in his first season a year ago.
You're talking about Mario?
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't even talk to him. So that's great that you bring him up. The one guy who didn't talk at Media Day, that's who you want me to talk about?
No, but I'm just saying in general, the whole mood around the whole program, which he sets the tone as the CEO, just seems to be more focused in that direction.
Look, this team, as weird as it sounds, this team does not have Mario Cristobal's personality at all. You and I know Mario very, very well. He's intense. He's relentless. He doesn't, I don't know how to put it. He's different. I haven't met anybody like Mario in my life. If I was like Mario, I would have, as weird as it say, I would have died of a heart attack like 20 years ago. Like, I'm just not built for it. You have to be built for what Mario Cristobal is, and very, very, maybe 0.001% of the population is built like that. If this team has taken anything from what you call the CEO, I don't know why you think it's a corporation. It's a college football program, just so you know, Gary. But if they take anything from their CEO, as you refer to him, It would just be work ethic and what they call culture, the blueprint. Like they just throw these words around. It's like saying impact player. Oh, he's an impact player. Like, what does it even mean? Mario's never explained the blueprint. You just have to assume that whatever this blueprint is, and there isn't an actual blueprint in his office, okay? But it's just in his head, and it's just like, this is how he's learned to do it. That's the blueprint. The culture that they call the culture is just working hard, man. Just work hard and do your job. Do anything like you do everything, or do everything like you do anything, whatever. It's just these code words. Like, it doesn't mean anything. At the end of the day,
Actions.
At the end of the day, it's a football team that plays on a 100-yard field and throws a 3-foot long piece of leather around, and like we act like it's the biggest deal in the world. And for some of us, it is. But when you start saying culture and blueprint and corporation and no, it's a 100-yard field. The players always say it, and it's true. Like we tend to make it bigger than it is. At the end of the day, work hard, know your plays. It's like a homework assignment. It's like a class. Just if you do everything right and you have the skill set to do it and the mindset where you're not going to fold under pressure, like, you're going to be great. It's that simple. It doesn't matter if there's a blueprint or not. It doesn't matter if there's a culture or not. Like, it's nice to throw this stuff around. Oh, the culture's so different. Like, the guys are nice guys. I've covered teams at Miami where I'm like scared of some of these guys. There was a reporter once, and it was McConnor Regis. This reporter was in the way of McConnor Regis going to the locker room. And instead of McConnor Regis just saying, excuse me, I'm going to the locker room, McConnor Regis picked up this reporter, who, by the way, weighed over 250 pounds, picked him up, moved him out of the way, and then went into the locker room. Those are some of these guys that we've covered on the team. There have been other guys on the team who, one of them beat up a trainer. Another one beat up his teammates. Like, there are some players who have been on this team that I've covered where you're like, they're not so nice, these guys. And guess what? Some of those guys who aren't nice were great, great football players. I'm not going to, name them all. But this team this year, I couldn't tell you one guy on this team legitimately that I'd say, he's not that nice a guy, which sometimes means he's a great football player. Which is why when I said in the beginning, the only concern I have is they're too nice. It's like you said with Leonard Taylor. Like, he's the nicest guy in the world. But you'll have football coaches in high school tell you all the time that there's a flip that switches, a flip that switches, or a switch that flips. Whatever you want to say. Whatever happens, the flip switches, the switch flips. When they get on that field, they're a different person. And the problem Miami's been having pretty much ever since Donna Shalala implemented this whole thing where you got to have these great student athletes that are actually students and not just crazy lunatics, is some of these guys are too nice. And when you get a 4-star who's too nice a guy and he doesn't have that switch that flips, you can be great in high school because you're at that level. But if you don't want to kill the person across from you, like Matt Lee, for instance, Matt Lee is the sweetest guy in the world. You put him on a football field, he will literally put you in the hospital if he can. Like, he will put you in the hospital if you're on the other team and be happy about it. And then when the game's over, he'll feel bad and go visit you in the hospital and bring you flowers. But that's what Miami needs. That's what Miami's always had. And my only concern with this team is that maybe a guy like Leonard Taylor hasn't learned how to obviously flip the switch yet. And my only concern is maybe a bunch of other guys the same way. That's my only concern, because this is a nice team. They do have some really good young talent that I keep telling people in a couple of years, this team's going to be there. It's going to be where it should be. You just got to wait a couple more years and they're going to be really, really, really good. But they have to learn to flip the switch. You can call it a culture, whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, you got to be nasty on the field. You got to know what your plays are. You got to basically compete to your highest level when you're in that 100-yard field throwing around the 3-foot-long piece of leather. That's about it, man.
Something I saw was the players are trying to take greater ownership of the team. And that actually was a message that was started to get sent down by Ed Reed when he was involved in the program. And now you got other guys, like Alonzo Highsmith back, Kevin Beard back as receivers coach. And they're like teaching these kids that the players have to, bond with each other and make each other accountable to each other. And I'm seeing a lot of effort in that regard. So a lot of really positive signs that are coming out of Media Day at the start of fall practice. We talk about some of that stuff this morning. We have the 5 biggest practice one keys for you to check out. And I wrote a column for the site this morning just with my overall umbrella view of the team and the start of practice. So hopefully you guys will get some enjoyment out of
Hey,
that.
let me guess. You think it's going to be a great season? They're going to be amazing, right? Is that what you wrote? I'm pretty sure that's what you read.
I think it will be a season of forward progress.
Oh, stellar season.
I don't think they're quite there yet to win the ACC, obviously. But I do think that the bar being set at around 8 by Vegas is correct. And I'm hoping that they can get to 9. And I think that would be a solid move forward for this team this year if they can do it.
Yeah, I mean, here's a true story for all you people that hate my stories. This is basically a big roll up the middle finger to you people because I'm telling one of my stories. Go ahead and fast forward it. I don't know, 1 minute and 24 seconds is about how long.
Steven, is he entertaining you? Because you haven't gotten to say a word yet. And
Steven doesn't need to say a word.
But
Steven,
entertaining you with these rambling soliloquies that he's laying on all of us this morning?
Yeah, I figured out a really long time ago. I'm pretty sure it was growing up whenever my parents would yell at me. I don't know if you're familiar with the phrase lights are on, but nobody's home. But I feel like I've really mastered that thing. Everything just kind of goes in one ear, out the other. It's a lot like
when Matt talks. Yeah, I agree.
It's a lot like eating
in one ear, out the other.
It's a lot like eating chips. There's no real sustenance to it. And you're still going to be hungry at the end of it, and you'll feel kind of sick. And even though you're consuming anything, you're not actually.
What the hell are you eating, bro? Who just eats chips? What's wrong with you? So listen, at Media Day, at the end of Media Day, this was the most shocking part of Media Day. Okay.
I hope you were ready to give the mic back to Matt, Stephen.
Gary,
Gary
and I.
All right, go ahead, Matt.
Gary's covered Media Day since 1902. I've covered it for the last 24 years, whatever.
This was like the 43rd Media Day or something.
This was shocking. Okay, nobody could believe what happened. Media Day ends. It's a 2-hour Media Day. It ends, and they bring out like 50 boxes of pizza. Nobody can believe the media is like they've never seen. They're out of the media's out of their minds. Like attacking. Can we each take a box? There's so many boxes. Why are you opening the boxes? Let us just each take a box.
Budgets have gotten bigger, man. They took care of us.
And then Manny Navarro says to me, as they're bringing out the boxes, he says, "Hey Matt, how many wins do you think Miami's going to have this year?" and I said, "You know what, Manny?" I said, I'm going to eat a slice of pizza for every win that I think they're going to get. And you can just watch me eat the slice of pizza and do the math, and you can figure it out. And you know what? Manny did not watch me eat the pizza, so he doesn't know how many wins they're going to get this year. So shame on you, Manny, for being a terrible reporter. You could have known how many wins Miami was going to get by sitting there for 20 minutes and watching me stuff my face, but instead you left. That's on you, bro.
All right, are you done?
True story. That's what happened. That's not a joke.
Have you finished your stories for the day?
I have more stories, but I won't tell them.
You got any good restaurants?
Nobody likes
anybody to go to.
Nobody likes my stories. I went to a restaurant called Coco, K-O-K-O, in the Grove, and they're geniuses there, okay? Because they have a regular Mexican menu, which is fantastic, and the food's not bad. And in addition to that, they have ants on the menu. They have cockroaches on the menu. I don't know if they have flies on the menu, but they're geniuses because when they get inspected, right, and the inspector finds flies in the bathroom or the kitchen or cockroaches on the floor, oh no, we're serving that, Mr. Inspector. That's not a violation. It's the food we serve our patrons. Like every restaurant should be as smart as these people at Coco and put insects and vermin on their menu, and then you can't ever get a code violation. Anyway, that's nobody likes that story. I don't care. I want to be off this show. If enough people complain about my stupid stories, I am very hopeful that Ferman, Wagner, and when Azubi is back in town, that you guys can certainly take over. I don't need to be telling these stupid stories nobody cares about.
All right, so let's shift gears because last night, as if there wasn't enough going on, Miami got another commitment, and this one's kind of interesting. His name is Nino Francavilla. He is from Toronto, Ontario, Cheshire Academy. He's an offensive lineman that came to the Mario Cristobal camp earlier this summer and impressed the coaches so much that he immediately was on their radar. And then they offered him last week, and now boom, voila, just like that, he is now a commitment. And Steven, he's 6'3", 295. They think he is going to be a center of the future in this program. They don't have a lot of them. I mean, they've got Lou Cristobal, who transferred from Georgia State. Wow, did I have a great interview with him about his Tio Mario, man. It was really good. We'll have that on the website here in a couple days. And I guess, they cross train a lot of their guys. So there'll be others that will get work at center in training camp, but they didn't have a pure center in this class. So they went out and got him. And Steven, you've had a chance to look at him a little bit. He's not as much on our radar as some of the other recruits in this cycle who we've been watching for months, just because he just emerged on the scene in the last few weeks. But your initial thoughts on that commitment?
Yeah, first off, thanks for finally allowing me to speak after the 25 quietest minutes of my life. I think last time I couldn't remember the last time I went 18 minutes without speaking. Now I can't remember the last time I went 25 minutes without speaking. So we're shattering new records every day.
Right, but don't take equal time, because I don't think anybody wants to hear about this commit for 25 minutes.
I don't know. We got a few recruiting heads on our site, but anyway, I will give you the rundown on Nino Francavilla. So this guy really did come out of nowhere. I mean, 2 weeks ago, if you would have told this guy, "Hey, you're going to be committing to Miami at the end of the month," he probably wouldn't have believed you. He would have thought, that's kind of crazy. He committed to Harvard last week. Then less than 24 hours later, he gets the offer from Miami. Kind of the first thing that Alex Mirabal asks him whenever he offers him is, what's the situation with Harvard? Is there any wiggle room there? What can really happen? And for Francavilla, after having a few conversations with some people in his circle, it really did become kind of a no-brainer. He even talked to his Harvard coaches, and his Harvard coaches, or I should say Harvard recruiters, and his Harvard recruiters, who are also coaches at Harvard, said, "Yeah, man, we don't blame you. If we were, if we were in your position, we probably would be doing the exact same thing." I mean, Miami is Miami, and the Ivy League, as some of you may know, does not hand out athletic scholarships. So this really was like a really awesome opportunity for Francavilla, who is a guy who really came out of nowhere. Miami was the first and only Power 5 program to offer him. We had the chance to see him work out at Miami's prospect camp on June 8th, where truly he really did look the most polished, I think, of any offensive lineman that we saw get to a prospect camp this summer. You could tell he's been around the block a time or two. He knew what he was doing. He was much more refined than a lot of these guys. And I think myself and a few of us started wondering, man, who is this guy? It seems like he should be kind of a bigger deal. And I went up to him afterward. I chatted with him for a little bit, got his contact information. And honestly, after that, because we didn't really hear anything for about a month, I thought to myself, well, maybe Miami talked to him, they got to look at him, and they decided to pass. And then last week we see on Twitter, Nino Francavilla is posting that he landed a Miami offer. And I think to myself, Francavilla. Yeah, I remember that guy. So I started talking to him, and all of a sudden, we find out, no, Miami is really looking at him as the potential center for this class. And center's been a position that Mario Cristobal hasn't landed in his 2 full high school recruiting cycles. Yeah, he did land Lou Cristobal as a transfer from Georgia State, but Miami hadn't landed a true high school center. You'll remember Connor Liu flipped from Miami to Auburn in December last year, just right before signing day. And then this year, Joseph Ionata, who was a guy who it seemed like Miami had really zeroed in on and had a lot of momentum with and was in a very good and comfortable position with. I even put in a prediction into the RPM for Miami to get Ionata. I felt that good about kind of where things sat there. Alabama comes in and scoops him up and brings him to Tuscaloosa. And so that was really kind of the one position that Miami hadn't been able to get along the offensive line, even though, like you said, Gary, they will cross-train their guys. Every offensive lineman that I've spoken to has talked about how Miami doesn't really recruit you at guard or center or tackle. They recruit offensive linemen, and they're going to cross-train them at a bunch of different positions. And once you get here, they're going to figure out what position you're going to fit best at, what position maybe you could back up others at, and kind of what the depth chart's going to look like from there. But there's certainly a lot of excitement about Francavilla. I think in part because of the fact that he's a postgraduate in the class of 2024. This gives you an additional year of experience. It makes you a year older, it makes you a year more mature, and most importantly, it gives you all of those things without starting your eligibility clock. So he's still coming to Miami with all of his years of college eligibility, all of his years of NCAA eligibility, and there seems to be a lot of excitement in Miami's locker room about him. Miami staff really thinking here that they found a guy that no one else has really had a chance to see.
And they used to do that in the past when Arquillo was the offensive line coach. They used to go get guys like this, Shurko, Haji Razui, comes to mind, Brett Romberg, Ian Sinclair. So there's a history of Miami finding guys like this in those neck of the woods. And so, great job getting them down to camp, great job evaluating him. Hopefully he turns out to be a quality center, kind of like what they found here in the transfer portal with Matt Lee, who I think you guys are going to see as the season goes forward is really a transformational kind of guy. Like you've got the 2 5-star tackles and Javion Cohen from Alabama, but I was talking to Alex Mirabal yesterday at Media Day, and he flat told me that Matt Lee has changed things in this program. Just the approach he brings every day, his grasp of the game, the way he makes the calls at the line of scrimmage, his consistency. And they feel very strongly that they are vastly better at the center position. And now they're looking towards the future and trying to find the next guy. Time will tell, whether Nino is that guy. All right, Stephen, we were at the U the other day. We saw another young offensive lineman that we liked, and not quite. I'm trying to figure out where he's going to fit if he decides he's going to commit, because there are other O linemen that they're doing well with in recruiting. But Ellis McAdoo, he's from Elmhurst, Illinois. A really nice looking 6'5", 295-pound prospect, and Miami offered him after the camp the other day. We've got a story on the website this morning, so you guys can catch up and get to know Ellis McAdoo a little bit better. All right, so that's going to do it for this morning for Good Morning CaneSport. We got to hustle out to practice. Again, the first practice on Green Tree is this morning. We will have tons and tons and tons of coverage for you on the website as things move forward. We got a lot already there for you this morning, going back into yesterday. So make sure you stay tuned to CaneSport.com around the clock now as we get into training camp. We will have a ton of coverage for you. And of course, we will continue to keep up with recruiting as well. Once again, we've got the fall camp special, 25% off for annual subscriptions, $74.99. Hustle on over to CaneSport.com. Take advantage of that. Come join our community. We look forward to seeing you on the message boards and on the website every single day. So for Matt Shodell and Stephen Wagner, I'm Gary Ferman. Thank you once again for starting out your day with us, everybody, and we will see you again tomorrow. Have a great day.